The aroma of coffee and sizzling bacon filled the air in Mill Creek Diner. It was a small-town eatery, the kind where everyone knew each other. The chatter of families and the occasional clink of coffee cups created a symphony of everyday life. Sarah Townsend, a young woman in her late 20s, sat in a corner booth. Her worn leather jacket and faded jeans made her blend seamlessly with the rustic charm of the diner. She sipped her coffee, her fingers absently tracing the rim of her mug. Despite her calm exterior, her eyes often darted toward the window, scanning the street. The waitress, a kind-faced woman named Molly, approached with a smile, refilling Sarah's cup. "Waiting for someone, sweetie?" Molly asked kindly. Sarah smiled faintly. "Just my dad." Molly nodded knowingly and moved on. As Sarah took another sip, the peace was shattered by the distant rumble of motorcycles. Within moments, 5 burly men roared into the diner's parking lot, their presence as loud as the engines they rode. They entered, their leather jackets emblazoned with skulls and flames, their swagger palpable. The leader, a broad-shouldered man with a shaved head, scanned the room with a smirk. "What a dump," he sneered, his voice cutting through the cozy atmosphere. His crew laughed as they took a booth near Sarah, their voices booming. The leader, Rick, spotted Sarah sitting alone. With a cocky grin, he called out, "Hey there, sweetheart. That seat taken?" Sarah ignored him, her fingers tightening around her mug. "Don't think she heard you, Rick," one of the bikers jeered. Rick stood, his heavy boots echoing on the tile floor as he sauntered toward her booth. Leaning down, he invaded her space. "I said, I heard you," came a calm, commanding voice from the doorway. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to the entrance. Standing tall, with a military bearing that demanded respect, was Tom Townsend, Sarah's father. His face was weathered, his movements deliberate. Though his eyes were hidden behind dark glasses, the white cane he carried told his story. "Morning, Dad," Sarah greeted warmly, standing to guide him to the seat across from her. "Morning, sweetheart," Tom replied, his tone steady and authoritative. Rick chuckled, his confidence unchecked. "Daddy's here to save the day," he mocked. Tom tilted his head toward Rick, his expression unreadable. "I don't know who you are, son, but I suggest you walk away." The bikers laughed, egging Rick on. "What's he gonna do? He can't even see me," Rick sneered. Tom remained unfazed. "I've faced bigger threats than you, son. Walk away while you can." Rick leaned closer, his arrogance filling the space. Sarah, her jaw tight, reached for her phone. Her voice was calm but firm. "I need you here. Now." Minutes passed like hours. The bikers, emboldened by the lack of immediate action, resumed their jeers. Rick returned to his booth, laughing loudly, but his eyes kept darting towards Sarah and her father. Then came the sound, a low, thunderous rumble. Not motorcycles, but engines. Sleek black SUVs pulled into the parking lot in a coordinated line. Doors opened, and men and women in sharp suits stepped out with purpose. The diner door swung open, and a man in his 40s entered, his tailored suit immaculate, his expression unreadable. He approached Sarah. "Miss Townsend," he said, his voice clipped. "Are you all right?" Rick's bravado faltered. "Who the hell are these people?" Sarah stood, her posture unshaken. "They work for me." The revelation hit the room like a bolt of lightning. Rick's smirk wavered. "You? What are you, some big shot?" Sarah's smile was cold. "Something like that." The suited man stepped closer, addressing Rick directly. "Miss Townsend doesn't appreciate being harassed. Apologize and leave." Rick bristled. "And if we don't?" The man didn't flinch. "Then we'll have a problem." Rick hesitated, his bravado slipping under the weight of the suit's unwavering stares. Finally, he cursed under his breath and stormed out, his crew trailing behind. As the tension in the diner dissolved, Sarah exhaled, her hands trembling slightly. "You okay, sweetheart?" Tom asked gently. Sarah nodded, but muttered under her breath, "This isn't over." Back in their SUVs, Sarah explained to Tom what she hadn't shared before. Rick and his gang weren't just local troublemakers. They were part of a hate group targeting veterans and minorities. Sarah had been tracking them for months. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry," she admitted. Tom's jaw tightened. You don't fight battles like this alone. Together, they headed to a secure location, a warehouse-turned-command center where Sarah's private task force operated. Inside, a team of analysts worked tirelessly, monitoring the bikers and their network. "They've got a meeting tonight," Sarah's lead analyst, Rachel, informed her. "If we act now, we can catch their higher-ups." Under cover of darkness, the task force surrounded the biker bar. Sarah led the charge, her father close behind despite her protests. When the doors burst open, chaos erupted. The bikers resisted, but the task force was prepared. Amid the scuffle, Rick lunged at Sarah, only to be subdued by her quick reflexes. "It's over," Sarah declared, her badge held high. Bloodied and defeated, Rick spat. "You'll never stop us all." Sarah leaned in, her voice icy. "Maybe not, but you won't hurt anyone again." With dozens of arrests and a trove of evidence, Sarah's task force dismantled the biker network. Back at the command center, Tom placed a hand on Sarah's shoulder. "You did good, kid." Sarah smiled faintly. "We did good." Weeks later, father and daughter sat in the diner, enjoying a peaceful morning. "Think they'll come back?" Tom asked. Sarah shook her head. "Not a chance. And if they do, we'll be ready." Tom raised his coffee mug. "To resilience." Sarah clinked her mug against his. "To justice." Outside, life continued as usual, but inside, they knew they had made a difference, and they weren't done yet.